Why do women say they want a nice guy and then call him boring?
Is nice code for spineless, or are we just wired for the drama?
Women often say they want kindness and respect, but when they get it, some feel underwhelmed. Is it him or is it us?
I think it's us. I think humanity, and when we get to the root of it, it comes down to our attachment styles. Like, why do we like the drama? Why do we like these nice guys or bad guys? And I think it really comes down to our survival mechanisms at the end of the day. So this is like a piggyback of last week's topic of diving into emotions on both sides of the spectrum, from men, how they deal with their emotions and regulate their emotions, versus women. I think this is in that same realm of it's not him versus her, but it's more of these attachment styles up at play, saying, I do like the drama underneath the surface, even though consciously I want a nice guy. I want somebody that's going to respect me, but my subconscious patterns are disrespect, drama. So, disrespect and drama of a subconscious pattern and attachment styles underneath the surface, you're just naturally inclined to those things. And so many people struggle. Why do I keep attracting people like this? Why does this keep happening? Well, it's those subconscious beliefs underneath the surface that keep you in your safety and they keep you in your comfort zone. So I do think this is more of a us problem than a him problem, or a her problem too.
I think it's more than that. I think it's about how we want more than just blandness. I think women, a lot of times, I think they want a nice guy because you want to be treated well and you want to be seen and all of these things, which absolutely we do. I do, absolutely. But a lot of the nice guys are boring. And I think that's what it boils down to for me is that there has to be more than just being nice. When you bring in the bad boy or you bring in that energy, it creates something interesting. And like you said, it creates drama and we are wired for drama, but it creates this interest. And whether it's, I think I can change him or this is just really hot. I don't know. I think it brings something that's not in your life. And that's why I think a lot of times women are attracted to that.
So, from my experience, going back, I guess, before transitioning, like I've mentioned before, I've pretty much been out as queer majority of my life. I've been out since I was 16 years old. I really only dated boys in middle school because I was trying to figure out if this was the right thing to do. But I can't say that I've genuinely ever sat in this narrative before because I definitely look at character above everything. And I can't say that I've ever been more attracted to the naughty girl or the nice guy or the hot guy or anything like that. It's always been about the heart for me above anything else.
You're too genuine that like
I really am.
they just that you literally have always seen people in who they are, and that's freaking beautiful.
But I've also seen,
But that's not how most people see the world.
exactly, but I've also seen my friends that were girls growing up deal with this stuff or have those desires of the bad guy, the cool guy, and then they just end up getting hurt, and that just ends up being the story majority of the time. So, yeah, I've seen it, but I haven't really been in it. That's another one of those things.
Well, I've experienced it when I was presenting as a man for 37 years.
Hmm.
I was the nice guy. I was that guy that was nice to everyone, whether they were nice to him or not. And I was different. Let's not beat around the bush here. I was very different and didn't fully understand why until many, many years later. And transitioning was a huge piece of that for me. But I was quiet. I was shy. I was nice. And I look back at my life and think, well, no wonder, especially now that I'm a woman, getting to be the woman that I am, like, dating men. Like, I wouldn't want to date that guy either. He's boring. And I think that's the key. I've dated men that were really nice and really loved, like, great, be you, be the woman that you are. And I like that. And I'm attracted to you for that. And that was great. But especially when I had to do all of asking him all the questions and on these dates, they were just like, it was so boring. And I needed something more in my life. And so I said, I don't think we're really working out. And I don't ghost people. I don't do that kind of stuff. But I knew that we needed to just be done. No, there was never going to go anywhere. I gave him a couple chances. Come on, you need to develop into something here, dude. You're just kind of I guess it's just a wet blanket. And who wants to be with a wet blanket? And maybe that's not even gender. That is just like, who wants to be with somebody who is just kind of boring? And I was boring. Let's be honest. I was crazy boring. Not even because I'm transitioning, but I am confident in who I am now. I am proud of it. I am loving myself, and it just shines through me. And people want to be around me, people want to date me. My life has changed so incredibly much because of how I exuberate confidence and fun and uniqueness. And I think that's what people are attracted to. Now, let's take it back, like I said, to two sides, right? And so now I'm living as a woman, and I want someone who is nice, who wants me for me, not what's in my pants currently. And I want someone who is treating me well, but being fun, challenging me, sparking something that's fun and interesting. And so it's not just the nice guy, it's a nice guy, it's a whole package. And I think, or nice girl, I'm bi or pan. We're trying to figure that out too. I am finding it. And I think that is where it's really freaking beautiful, is when I really found the people who have all of those qualities are still fun to be around, but not just, oh, we accept you and like you who you are. I need more than that.
So what I'm hearing from all of this is like, it's more about just the niceness isn't enough. The niceness can serve some parts of your life, but it's going to take a little bit more than just being nice to make that fulfilling for those people that desire that respect, but also that fun, that thrill. And I think that is a really good point that you make. It does, these relationships and making these things work, they take effort, and you can't just show up and be like, you're pretty, you're awesome, and then expect things to just pan out and work into this long-term relationship. You actually have to show up, ask the right questions, treat them with respect, have the manners. All of it goes into play. So I think that's what I'm gathering from this conversation, is it's not so much about like just that nice guys aren't it. You have to be more than just nice. Is that kind of right or no?
Yes, you have to be more than just nice. That's a perfect way of saying it. I think that's what I thought. I think I saw a lot of a-holes, and I thought that just being nice and I can still be completely shy, and they're gonna wanna be with me, because why would you want to be with an a-hole? Even though you heard so many times in your life that women like the bad boy. Like, that can't be true. Why would anybody want to be with anybody like that? I just thought that being nice would be great, and people and women are gonna like me. And I dated plenty of women, but it took time. And honestly, it really started to develop the more that I created a personality and had a little bit more of a backbone. When I was growing up, everybody picked on me. And the biggest reason probably was the fact that I was easy to pick on. I was like, don't leave it, guys. Stop doing that. It was just easy for them and they could have fun with it. And I reacted. But other than that, I was just kind of boring. And now I look back at my life and think it all makes sense. Why I was even on the outskirts. Let's even go without even dating wise. You got to be more interesting. You got to find ways to be more interesting. And if you want people to like you, and it takes confidence. And I'm a huge believer now, and that confidence changes everything, because it has for me. So more than just not being boring, nice has so much more to do with that. It has to do with, is it predictable or is it unchallenging? Because most people don't really want to be able to predict everything. I think when you know what's going to happen with anything, it becomes boring, I guess. And so does that attraction create mystery, tension, a bit of edge? I think that is the type of thing that really is interesting, when you can create that mystery. I know me, I love mystery. I love not knowing what's going to happen. I'm very big on surprises. Don't you dare tell me what you got me for my birthday, because I want to be surprised. I want that element. I want that excitement. And it's easy to see why in all parts of our lives, we want that. We want to be interested, and we want to be unpredictable. And that tension, Nate, why don't you talk about how that tension really can be interesting?
So hard, Jed, because I just think so differently. Like,
You,
I would
you,
rather,
you,
I really do. When I was in the dating world, even when I met my wife, we were straight to the chase. I was poured out all on the table. I want to know who you are, what your life is like. I want to know what you want. I want to know what kind of parenting you want to do. What does life look like to you in all scheme of things? And so we got right to it. And I think that's how I've always approached dating. I am such a lover. I'm such a soft person that I don't have time to do all this nonsense of thrill and mysteries, and I know other people are like that, but I'm not. And I've always been in the dating world, and it's like, we're either going to be in this long term or I just don't have the time for it. So all of my relationships just have always been long term because of that. And so when it came to my spaces in my life where I had time to date, I just hated it. I really did. I hated everything about it. I was like, God, universe, just like send me my one and I will treat them right and I'll be the partner I need to be. I'll be willing to learn. And that's what happened with time. But when I was in the dating space, I absolutely hated it. I hated dating. I just hated everything about it. It's I don't know. To me, it just didn't, it never felt truly authentic to me. It's just, it was a hard space for me to be in. It was probably a lot because of my identity. There's so much I didn't know how to be or what people expected of me. I'm this masculine female and I'm this lesbian that's like, I'm really good looking, so I'm supposed to be the hot shot and I'm supposed to be cool, so I play the part and all these things. But it was never really fulfilling. And I feel like internally in the dating world, I was more confused than anything most of my life. So I got, honestly, I do say I got lucky with my wife because like she's my sole partner and I don't see life another way since I met her. But dating was confusing because I wasn't in my truth fully and I wasn't accepting myself fully. So dating just felt really hard. You get to experience it in your true self. So I feel like maybe that's where you get to have space to explore that, where I didn't necessarily have that space because I was still so focused on myself and my truth and doing this inner work. And dating was just like, when they come.
well, how different was it for you when you were dating men versus women? Whether, no matter how you were feeling.
Yeah, so when I dated men, I stopped dating men when I was 12 years old. So I dated boys. And my longest relationship with a boy was a month long. And my furthest thing pretty much I've ever done with a boy is kiss. And then I was just like, as soon as that relationship hit 1 month and we were kissing, us the dude at the time was like, we would meet after school and like kiss because we were like little kids, so we'd meet after school and be like, yes, now we can kiss. And so we would meet after school and then he would like be like, well, maybe we can do something else and you could come to my house. And I was like, nope, this is it, done with boys. I'm not going any further than this. And then I spent the next year in my head, how do I come out of the closet? How do I actually like start dating the things that are appealing to me and not go into this uncomfortable stage in my life? So when I dated boys, that's as far as I went. So I never really have experienced dating men or in that realm so much. But as a masculine female growing up that hung out with men, I did play that cool boy part because I also knew girls don't like boring and girls don't like the nice guy. So, like I mentioned in previous episodes, I really did come off as this macho, cool, attractive player. But internally, that's not who I was. But from the time I was probably 12 to 20 years old, and in this phase of my life, I just played this external, cool person thing. But internally, I was just like this lover, but nobody would know. So I used to play the part. So
So
for
when
me,
you,
I don't really have a difference. I wish that I did, or I don't wish that I did, but like
no,
I don't.
you are you, and that's amazing. And honestly, I think this brings up so much for me. And you were in a lesbian relationship
Hmm.
originally, right?
Yeah.
And it makes sense why women like women because
Hmm.
they don't have to deal with all this crap. This is something.
That is true,
This
actually.
is
So
why women like women. People need to understand
yes,
that you don't have to deal with all of this if this is the route that you're going. But that's just how
correct.
you are. You're wired, and it's just different. But so I get to experience both sides of this,
Yeah.
and being bisexual, and I like that aspect when it is with women. I like that there is that emotional connection more, and there is that intimacy. It's not mostly about sex with them.
Mhm.
That is the extra part. And because no matter if a guy is talking to me, whether he's talking about sex in the first conversation or not, by the way, you talk about in the first conversation or not, I'm probably going to say bye. It happens a lot. But if they are continuing on, then eventually it's still all about sex with them. That's why we talk about sex a lot on the show, because it's a huge part of our lives, and especially in the male life. And I've already tested to that in episode 5, and I think 2. We'll keep talking about it in the other different ways. But this is not a commercial for being a lesbian, let's be clear. But it makes sense why you were in that relationship. And now you get to be even more authentic being the man in that relationship. And how has that even changed for you?
It's changed tremendously. I feel like I've just sunk into a deeper healing in myself, which just has allowed me to connect differently with my wife on so many different ways. And the way that I see my patterns, and the way that when we face conflict together, I'm able to really take myself back because I no longer feel, as crazy as this sound, like I'm no longer suppressing shame anymore. I'm no longer suppressing my truth. I'm no longer living in this suppression of me. And I feel like a lot of the time when there's conflict, there's surface, it's on conscious level, this is happening externally, but internally I felt like my wiring, because I was suppressing myself internally without really recognizing it fully, that it would just snowball effect into what was ever happening outside of me. So what would trigger something would just turn into this emotional eruption of like, why are you even asking that question, or why are you even being that way? But now that I've tapped into my truth and really release shame on a level I never even imagined possible for myself, I just am able to connect. I don't feel like things are blocking me anymore. I don't feel like these paradigms are telling me stories in my head when conflict comes up anymore, like, you piece of shit, or she's gonna find out, or she's gonna leave you, or I always used to have this abandonment fear of my truth. Like, if I came to the surface, I'll lose everything. And honestly, since I've stepped into that, I've proven that to be completely false, and it's actually opposite happens. And so a lot of that has to do with the relationship that I'm in now, because my wife has seen me since we met 3 years ago, just as myself. She's seen my soul since the beginning of our relationship, and she never cared about my gender. She's the reason that I started to let, my hair on my legs grow back. She's the reason I started to just dabble into my truth again. And I feel like it was so scary to have somebody in my life fully see me in that way and let me explore myself in that way. So there was a lot of fear of, one, coming out with that truth, but also fear of losing her. So I feel like there was a lot more conflict until I came to terms with my truth within. And since then, our relationship probably has never been better on both sides. And me and my wife are the yin and yang to our experiences. She's avoidant, I'm anxious. She's very calm, grounded. I'm very ADHD, very high energy, and just we very level each other out in these ways. But the relationship we have, it definitely has taken its time and effort and work, and just it's been this healing experience for me to lean into love on a deeper sense. So
That is so beautiful. And I want to hit on one topic, one thing you hit within there real quick. This is something that we're going to talk about on at least another episode, but the idea of shame. And shame is a huge piece of any queer person's journey, no matter if you're trans, no matter if you're gay, bisexual, all of it. It is something that has affected all of us, and it binds us together, to be honest. And when you can come through that, that is when the real magic happens. I want to flip this real quick. Do men get bored of nice girls, or do they not?
actually, I first was like nodding my head yes, but then I'm like, wait, no, because the way I see the world is energy. So I see narcissist and empath when we start to get into this kind of topic. But yes, because if a man can be bigger than a woman, and if she's just nice, she's so much easier to control.
But they don't get bored of them. They want that. A lot of
Mm-hmm.
men, I think you're right. I think the natural thing is that if she's just going to do
Because
what I want her to do and she's not going to fight me on it, this is easy. I think that's why even I had this idea that in some ways that I wanted this trophy wife. I wanted, which is crazy because that's not all who I picked in the end when I got married. But it's easy to think that you just want somebody that you is going to be there for you, is going to do what you want, let you do what you want, And especially when you're in that masculine energy, right? And that's how it was for me. Super interesting. But so it's a very
It's like
different
flipped.
thing. And so I don't know if that's gender roles or that's just patriarchy. But
I think that one is a little mix of both for sure. But maybe just patriarchy on that one. I feel like I think that goes back to like, even just our first episode of like, are gender roles even real and like, where did gender roles even start and all that stuff. And I think it just got ingrained for sure when it comes to that.
also
Because
within that,
I
but
think
you
a
go.
lot of men transitioning from your you're getting out of high school and into your early adult years. I feel like a lot of men have that mentality. And I even had that mentality being a masculine female with hanging out with a boy group around me. I would also go find a trophy wife that would just be by my side and do it all. And I feel like a lot of men probably go through that transition through life of they think they want this trophy wife, but then once they get into it, then they learn there's more to it than that. So I wonder.
I think that men think they want a trophy wife. And while that's easy to control, is it really interesting? Is it what you want? And that's probably why in the end I didn't pick somebody that was just going to do whatever I said because
Hmm.
I wanted a partner. I wanted somebody who was going to challenge me and make me better. And maybe that's, I don't know, that's unique, but it's me. Being nice isn't the problem. Being bland, inauthentic, or passive is. You can be kind and interesting, respectful and bold. Date with self awareness, not stereotypes.
And we want to hear from you guys always. We want to hear what your experience has been about this as well. Do you feel yourself pulled more to the nice guys or the bad guys? And why is that? Or why not is that? And same for you on the flip side, men out there, are you attracted to the kind, nice girls? And why is that? Or are you attracted to the bad girls that are out there shooting the shots? And why is that as well? And if any of you out there in our audience has more experience in the real world when it comes to this, we went into this topic, and obviously I don't have a whole lot of experience when it comes to dating men from a woman's side. But if there's somebody out there in the audience that does, please leave us a message in our Speak Pipe link. We would love to hear from you. And if you are interested, we'd love to have you as a guest as well so that we could get the real life experience of what that might be like for you.
Especially when it comes to cisgender individuals, that would be really helpful to get another perspective for on all of these topics. So we want to hear from you. Come back next week because we've got a good one for you. Why do men get defensive instead of just apologizing?
It's not because we don't know we're wrong.
Well, that's a start.